Welcome one, welcome all to the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a tiny little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing about how fantastic adopting trails is in Toyotas, then this is the podcast for you. That's right, ladies and germs. My name is Tyler, and joining me for episode 319, I'm just kidding, it's 221, is Mr. Jimmy Chet. Jimmy, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. So,
hey, man.
Are you making fun of yourself because you said 318 on the last episode, which was 300, or the second to last episode, which was 320?
Maybe.
Okay.
I like making fun of myself.
Okay, good.
It's fun.
Somebody's got to do it,
Somebody
right?
has to do it. Not enough people do, even though I go home and cry at night.
Yeah. Dude, that post that I did on Instagram.
That was so funny reading through those.
Those were great.
Yeah.
Of the drive shafts hanging down on Bobcat. And I said, okay, everybody, what would Tyler say? There are some awesome comments. Yes. I think my favorite was actually on Facebook.
Oh, really? I didn't see any of the Facebook ones.
It was by Josh Bernard.
Okay.
And he said, it looks like Bob can't right now.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I was immediately, when I saw that picture and saw the caption, I immediately went to shafts, right?
Sure, absolutely.
That's where my head was going.
I wonder why.
And then somebody said, oh, did you get back from the transmission shop too? And I was like, Standard Auto Care.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you just got back from Standard Auto Care too.
I know you were out camping that weekend, so I was waiting for you to come back and see that post. And then all of a sudden I got notification after notification after notification. You just kept answering everybody's comment.
I was having fun with it.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, man. So that one's good. If anybody wants to check that out, go check out the Snail Trail 4x4 Instagram. It's one of the posts on the feed, and it has a Bobcat with both his drive shafts just hanging down there.
Dangling low. Yep.
The angle of his dangle was nice and low.
Definitely is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully solved by this point in time.
Yeah. When is this? This is a Monday episode, right?
This is a Monday episode. Yes.
Cool. I can't keep track. So what is this? 322?
322.
322 is this episode. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is, we are out on the Rubicon right now.
Yes, we are.
Having a good time. So obviously we are recording live. So hopefully you guys are enjoying all this great quality.
Yep. Just bouncing around down the trail.
We're actually hanging out at a a cell phone tree right now recording this. It's going out live.
The only place you get service.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, we are out on the Rubicon right now having a good old time. You guys will hear updates about how this week goes, good, bad, or indifferent. Probably next week.
Yes.
It's going to be a crazy week. Jimmy's only halfway through. How was the first Rubicon trip?
Oh, it was good. I ran into tons of traffic with side-by-sides, but besides that, it was a good time.
Did they all have their music blaring and all the other good stuff?
Oh yeah, all the lights on, all the music going like 3 times faster down the trail than I was able to go.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, in reference that UTV Conquest was happening this last weekend, so which is actually pretty cool because it's Jeepers Jamboree that decided to get into the UTV market. Which I think is a great thing because it is showing somebody putting together the precedents that creating UTV groups, side-by-side groups, is a good thing.
I agree.
And kind of creating organization behind side-by-side groups. So Jeepers Jamboree kind of leading the trail, pun intended, for the UTV side-by-side conquest there. I'm really kind of interested to hear how that all ended up after the weekend's over and hear kind of feedback about the Conquest trip.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. This is the second annual, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder if anybody was out on that, contact us. We'd like to know some more info.
I would imagine Bill Ellis was probably out on the trip. So I'll have to get in contact with him and see
maybe
what he thought of what his thoughts are. But anyways,
my understanding they're going in They're wheeling into the Rubicon Springs.
Mm-hmm.
The next day, they're wheeling up Cadillac to Observation Point, and then they're going out on all those trails out there. And they're just romping around out in the trails between, Observation Point and Tahoma.
Yeah.
And wheeling out in that area. And then back to Rubicon Springs.
Okay.
And then the next day, they're wheeling all the way out back to Loon.
Nice.
Yeah.
That would be actually a really fun trip for side-by-sides.
I agree.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we'll have to get in touch with Bill and see if he was out on that. I would imagine he is, but we'll have to check and see. So the only thing I'm bummed about is they're pulling another parade permit for it.
I know.
And
at some point, we're going to have to pull a parade permit just so we could go wheeling.
Right. Unfortunately, yeah, that's what it's looking like it's going to come down to, because there's so many events happening out on the Rubicon. And if they all keep pulling parade permits, then the Rubicon is going to be shut down. I mean, it's already right now.
Like
there's
the whole month,
four or five parade permits being pulled during the summer on the Rubicon during the weekend. So,
right. So you could wheel like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're not really supposed to be out on the trail.
Yep. 5 times during the summer. So that's, what was that, 20 days?
Or we just get really into night wheeling.
I'm not opposed to that. I mean,
because the permit only goes till 10 p.m.
Yep.
And then through 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
However, what you've also learned is if you want to do the whole trail, you have to drive through private property at Rubicon Springs, and that is permanently closed during the parade permit times.
They set up guards and sentries.
Yep.
So that the only people allowed into the springs are the people that are attending the event.
Yep. Into the private property. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyways, I'm hoping, I like that things are getting organized. I don't like that they're privatizing the trail.
Yes.
So, we'll have to see how that develops in the future too.
Right. I know.
Trails, in my opinion, trails are supposed to be public. I get that, they're running an event. They're charging a lot of money for people, and they're putting on a great event, and they want their participants to be safe. But at the same time, that's not what the Rubicon Trail is about, in my opinion.
No.
And so we'll get into public trails here, I think, this episode a little bit. So.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, they're raising a lot of money for the trail, and that's a benefit. But at what point, is a public trail public or not?
Yep.
So,
good question. So, let's see. What else do we got going on today? We have a giveaway going on this month.
We do.
And it actually showed up over here in a box, so I'm going to take it out here.
Oh, okay. Pull it out, Tyler. He's reaching down, everybody. Reaching in. Oh, he's got a die. Oh, wow. That looks good.
All right, there it is. We have...
in all its glory.
An affordable bender here in the middle of the studio right now.
Yes, we do.
And the handles are a little dirty. But, that's the frame. It looks like the 1 3/4 inch die, which I'm interested in because I ordered 2 dies with my bender.
Okay.
And there's 2 dies that came yesterday in the box, and then another die here in the bender right now.
Oh.
But I haven't checked the other. I just assumed the other 2 were the 2 dies I was getting.
Yeah, I would.
So
but we are giving away an affordable bender this month on the podcast, and
we are indeed.
And depending on what dies you got, and if we want to be good to affordable bender, we could just tell the winner that we have a backup die for them, and they could, or we have a size X die. So they could get another one. Yeah,
if I have a repeat dies here, I haven't checked the ones out in the other room, but if we do have a repeat die, then I'm totally down to give that away with the bender that we give away this month. So, yeah.
That'll work out. Mm-hmm. Somebody could have 2 dies possibly.
Yeah. So, let's see. Gotcha. It looks like it just comes with some instructions. It says, It bends 0.095 to 1.20 mild steel round tubing and up to 0.095 DOM or 4130 chromoly round tubing. So,
okay.
Yep. And then just a bunch of other safety concerns, warranty info, and other stuff that came with it. So pretty cool. I'm excited to put this to use and kind of report on my findings of it. I know that Sue and Chai from Bun Trail Welder, who we've had on the podcast before, they do all their builds, that pretty much all the builds they ever work on with an affordable bender. So I'll have to talk with them and pick their brains about tips and tricks.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just found out that Dylan, who we had on the podcast not too long ago from Keep Our Deserts Clean, used an affordable bender here to build his truggy. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to start playing around with it and figuring out how bending tubing works. So, yeah.
So the one... I'm sure maybe we should have some bending professional or we will probably have a bending professional kind of come on here and talk about it. But Brian Damshin, my buddy, told me that I should measure out 1 inch on tube, like for like a few feet long. And then, put the bender, put the tube in the bender, line it all up so that the first one's on like at 0. And then you start your bend. And then you say you do a 30-degree bend. So then you see how far, where it bends, how far up it bends, where the bend stops or starts, and the throw out from where you started to where the bend starts. So you can get all these measurements by just drawing up a few templates. Yeah. So you drop this template of like a 30-degree, a 45, and like a 90 or something like that, and then you can easily know, and you can start setting it up so that you know where to set the dies and how far it starts to bend, and you get a good understanding of how to use the bender.
Nice.
And I thought that was great advice because I've only used my bender once, and it was just a test to see if it was working. And then I moved on to other things, so I want to do that on my bender as well and get these dies and get a better understanding of how it works.
Yeah. Yep, there's definitely going to be some playing around and adjustment to figure out with it, but that's something that I'm looking forward to. I love learning new stuff. So
yeah, I think this is going to be cool. I really want to do a few things on Bobcat, and there's a whole slew of things that I need to do on Samantha. So I'm going to be using the bender I have here fairly frequently once I start working on vehicles again.
When's that going to be? Just kidding.
I have months from now, probably. I mean, I'll be working on Bobcat to maintain it, and then maybe once the winter comes around, maybe I'll have some free time to work on Samantha. But right now, there's not a whole lot of free time going on.
Yeah, I hear you. So anyways, if you guys want to get in on the affordable bender giveaway, go check out Irate 4x4 over at the Snail Trail 4x4 forum. Those are all your options for signing up and making sure you get into the giveaway by the end of the month here. If you want to check out and kind of figure out what the hell we're talking about in the first place, go check out affordablebender.com. So you can take a look at kind of what their offering is, the size package it comes in, and the price that it's at too. So from everything I've heard, for the price that it is, you can't beat it. But
the size of it compared to my my bender is...
And which bender do you have?
I can't. It's Rogue Fab. Rogue Fab bender. I always want to say Road. Rogue. I have the Road is our soundboard.
Yep.
The Rogue is my bender.
Yeah.
It's so much more compact than my bender. That's crazy. So yeah, I'm curious to see how it works. I think it'll be cool.
Yeah. So anyways, go check that out. You have until the end of the month, August 35th, in order to get in on that giveaway.
You know what we should do? We should do what I just said in regards to the throw out. To see how far, it from where you mount the starting bracket to how far it bends out to how big the arcs are and things like that. I should do it on mine and you should do it on yours. And then we can compare them.
I'm always down to compare shafts.
Yeah. Shafts and bending.
Yep.
Definitely.
Bending shafts. Yep. I'm
cool.
down.
Let's do it.
Cool.
Another thing
that I... going to go on our OnlyFans?
Yep.
The Snail Trail OnlyFans? Okay,
exactly. Cool. Something else that I want to announce is... Or are we done with that? Let me just say.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. So cool. Another thing that I want to announce is that we made the Google forum for the episode 350, where we're going to have the significant others on once again. But we really want to have questions from you guys out there in regards to things that you would like us to ask the significant others, things that you would like the significant others to ask us, or you can get even more direct, like the assistant can ask Tyler, or the assistant can ask me, Jimmy, or vice versa. And you can really set it up to however you want it. We have it set right now as name, if you want to give us your name or an Instagram handle or something like that, and then a question. And then that's really all the form is. So we'll put a link in the description. I'm going to throw some links up on Instagram. So I want to make it really easy for you guys to write in any question you want, and then hopefully we get a whole slew of them and we can answer a bunch of them on episode 350.
Nice. I'm really hoping we get some questions from Douche McDouche.
I'm probably sure we will.
He's usually good for some.
Oh, absolutely. Are you talking about Sherpa?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, man. So, that is up and live. So we'll have that in the show notes here. So make sure you check the show notes if you want that link. And then you can go and ask some questions, and we'll get all those together for episode 350.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you give us your name, we'll probably say, hey, we got this question from so and so. If you don't want to leave us your name, don't worry about it.
Yep.
We'll figure those are from Douche McDouche.
There we go. Or Ryan. Probably. I'm afraid Ryan's going to write in.
That's fine. We don't have to answer them.
That's true. We can be choosy.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice. But I do think that it'd be fun to, if you guys want to learn more about, camping with ladies, or ladies camping with us, or how ladies get through camping with us, or why we always say we're so busy from the ladies' perspective, or whatever, right. We're leaving it open.
That would be interesting to hear their perspective of why you and I are so busy.
Yes.
I don't know. They just sit around talk trucks all day.
Yeah. We could write it in and just put an anonymous name in there from Douche McDouche.
There you go. Blame it on Sherpa.
Yeah.
Cool. I like it. So go check out that form. It's in the show notes right here below. Just pull up on your phone and look at the show notes. And if you have one of those really annoying podcasting services that only shows like 25 words, then go to the website, snailtrail4x4.com /podcast, I believe. And you'll be able to pull up the episode there. So
yeah, should be in the show notes from episode 322 to 349.
Cool. I like it. Let's see. So what else do we got? Anything else? We're doing the announcements for the FNG, FNG's birthdays, and the winner of the Spartan Ropes giveaway. We're going to be doing that on next Thursday, August 18th, that episode. So we don't have any of that to go over today. We'll get to it shortly here. We're having too much fun at the beer tree at the moment.
Yes.
So
cheers.
Actually, we might be around beer tree as of the time that this airs. So
maybe
we'll see.
Yeah,
it depends what time I set it to air, I guess.
Yeah. I've noticed whenever you set one to air, it's usually randomly different times. I always set mine to air at 4:20.
You would. That's funny. Cool, man. So anything else we can cover?
No.
Before we get into today's topic?
Let's move to today's topic.
Cool, man. Yeah, you're going to have to help guide, I think, a little bit of this topic, because I think I can... Well, we'll get into it here. Ready?
Ready.
All right, go ahead and grab your favorite drinks, everybody. I got some water here because I've had a lot of coffee today. And we'll be right on back with today's campfire discussions.
I just want to say that I think I guide us most of the time.
Oh, welcome back, ladies and germs, to today's campfire discussion. We have our resident tour guide Jimmy, here in the studio.
The last time I was tour guide, I blew my power steering.
That is true. But we kept Lee off of Lee Mountain.
That's true.
With you tour guide.
That was a bonus.
Yeah.
I only like maybe 15, 20 minutes. It's all Bobcat lasted.
It's better than never mind. Better than how long I last. Anyways, welcome to today's campfire discussion. So this is going to be kind of an interesting one, and I think it spurs out of just kind of being that time of the year where trails are getting used a lot. There's trail maintenances going on. There's a lot of off-roading events going on. And there's just a lot of people out using trails right now. The middle height of summer, everyone's trying to get their vacations in before all the kids go back to school. So there's a lot of usage of trails going on out there right now. And there was a post on Instagram from somebody that came up. Her Instagram is, I believe, Off-Road Fitness. And she was driving near a lake, I want to say in New York, and just showing all the trash that people had left out there.
Oh, wow.
Right. Okay. And she was like, this breaks my heart. I hate to see trash. I love coming out to this lake. Like, I don't understand why people can't pick up after themselves. Blah, 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 blah. Let's do a trash cleanup. Who wants to join me?
Right. Okay.
And I was like, that's great. Do it. However, don't just do it. Do it, but coordinate with your land manager. Whoever is in charge of managing the land and maintaining that piece of property there, coordinate with them before you just go do your trash cleanup. And I ended up that led to a pretty lengthy discussion with her about the importance of why we should be coordinating maintenance efforts with land managers.
And why is that?
Because it does.
See how I'm leading you right now.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Good job. Because it shows the land managers who is really going out there and helping them do their jobs, who is helping them maintain the land, who really cares about the recreation that's going on at those areas, and maybe more important, maybe not more importantly, but who is not messing up the land. Because I think that, and I don't think I know that off-roaders get a very bad branding nationwide. We're always seen as just these yahoos that go out, tear up our vehicles, and tear up the land, leave trash everywhere. And unfortunately, because there ends up being a lot of trash in a lot of places we go and play, we end up getting pinned for it a lot of times, I think. And so I was like, let's try and start changing that. Let's change that branding.
Change that mentality. Change that brand. Yeah.
Change that brand that off-roaders are doing all this. Let's change and make a brand where off-roaders are the ones helping solve the problems. That way, when it comes to looking at us losing 1,300 miles of trails at Gemini Bridges near Moab, the land managers second guess that decision because we're the ones actually taking care of our own stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it just kind of ended up being this lengthy discussion with her, and it had never occurred to her to work with government entities in maintaining our trail systems and trails and places we like to go recreate, right?
Absolutely.
And so, I don't know. I'm no means have all the answers. I don't know all the information, all the processes. But what I can explain is the relationship that we've worked to set up with El Dorado National Forest and El Dorado County with the adopted trail section on the Rubicon.
Right.
And I'm hoping what we can do is take that information, share it with everybody. And if you spark an idea in your neck of the nation or your neck of the world, that can be like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe we should, I can go talk to the managing agency for this parcel of land, whether it's BLM, National Forest, State Park, whoever it is, and offer to help be a solution to a problem that they're facing. I think that it would go a really, really long ways to trails getting shut down for off-road recreation.
Right.
No matter where it is.
Yeah, I agree. I think, today's main topic is in regards to that, but also, while we were out at lunch, we were I asked you a few questions in regards to trail maintenance and how it all comes about and why it is. And so, and that's also in the direction that we're going to cover some of that as well today. We pretty much, Tyler's like, shut up, stop talking. Let's talk about this on the podcast.
Yeah. I was like, oh, these are good questions. And this is why I kind of alluded to you needing to help guide the conversation. Cause I feel like there's a lot of information that I could just spew out and I don't know how to organize it in a way that makes sense for people who may not know what's going on.
So let's just make it a broad, open statement in a way here that one of the reason that we here, especially in California, and especially Northern California region where we're at, there's a lot of trail maintenance that goes on is because of a few different reasons, right? The primary one that I know of is the water board.
The state water board, yep.
They see more or less they see our tires going over the land as disturbing the soil, turning it, messing it up a little bit. Then when the rains come, the topsoil sheds off in the rainfall and goes down into our water system.
Our watershed systems, yep.
And then it goes down into the ocean. But I think the main issue is that then we just are putting more sediment in our rivers and streams and in a way making them dirtier.
Yeah, we're making them dirtier. We clog up reservoirs is another reason for reducing sediment.
Okay.
Is that a lot of the reservoirs get clogged up, which then you have different issues with dam maintenance. You've got different issues with releasing usable water at the dams for hydroelectric power, water into the aqueduct system to feed.
Our reservoirs are so low now. If we put more dirt in the bottom of
it'll
them,
raise it. I like your logic, sir. So that's really why our reservoirs are so low, is because they've been doing a ton of projects to clean out reservoirs lately. So really,
well, no, it's because of all of our work up on the trail, digging that watershed.
The sediment out of the watershed. Yeah. Jesus Christ. That was good. No, yeah. So anyways, that's the kind of the number one reason
out here, at least, right?
Out here in Northern California, in the Sierras, that's the big issue with the state water board. And that was one of the leading factors into the 42 trails shutdown. Is that 10 years, 11 years ago now? That one was also because they didn't correctly have the meadows and marshes labeled, and so they had to go and remap a bunch of the meadows and stuff. And in doing so, they figured out how the watershed was really connected up in the Sierras, and then they were like, oh, we need to clean all this up because there's a bunch of these off-road trails that goes through our watershed. Which is then sediment issues and blah, blah, blah. So,
well, I also want to say that it also a while ago, like 10, 15 years ago, it wasn't just sediment. It was also oils and stuff. But I think a lot of people are on top of their spills and, issues of while out on the trail in regards to any sort of spill of fluids. And so,
including bodily fluids,
absolutely. Including bodily fluids. And so I think a lot of that in our neck of the woods is much more mitigated than it has. And really, they can only come after us after erosion.
Yeah, so, erosion sediment now. Yeah.
In other parts of the world, I think you also need to concern yourself with oil and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Vehicle fluids, bodily fluids, white flowers in Moab. So anyways, so what we have found in California is that one program that has worked heavily to help fix the problem. And really the problem comes down to the state water board sues the Forest Service or BLM or state forest or county, whoever is the land manager for that trail. The state water board or another governing agency, the California Coastal Commission, is a good one.
Our good friends.
For Friends of Oceana Dunes and what's going on at Pismo. Somebody comes in and sues the governing agency, the land manager, for mismaintenance, right? And says, hey, things aren't being kept up to whatever standards they should be, whatever standards have been set. And then it's up to the Forest Service, whoever the land manager is, to fix and bring everything back up to repaired standards, maintenance standards. A lot of times they don't have the funds and budget to do that.
Right. Absolutely.
They don't have the people resources to do that. It takes a lot of human labor hours to bring trails back up to maintenance standards.
Off of a whim or a guess, how many like acres was the 42 state or 42 trail thing?
I have no clue.
1,000? Thousand?
A few thousand would be my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so one person manning a few thousand acres out there to map the watershed isn't going to work.
No.
Right.
And so it really, in my opinion, they have funding to get supplies, right? There's funding there to purchase rockfill or fencing to put in to cover rockfill and solidify rockfill. There's funding there to buy shovels and pickaxes and dynamite and ANFO for blowing and blasting and lunches. There's all these things for resources, physical resources. There's lots of funding there. The problem comes down to labor force. And so one program that a lot of this I've also learned more about recently because I got to sit down with Randy Burleson again. And I swear every time I sit down with that guy, he's just a fascinating mind to pick for information and how things work, right?
He just won an award, right?
He won the Rock Award for Rubicon Trail Foundation at the dinner, the awards banquet earlier this year. Thank you.
Yes.
Yep. And so he's been doing a lot of work since 2002, 2003, whatever it was. And he explained there was a lady named Daphne Green that worked and was really the founder of the Adopt-A-Trail system in California, the Adopt-A-Trail program.
Oh, cool.
And her thought process was, we don't have enough labor force to do these projects. The projects need to get done. We can get funding for the projects. We can get grant funding through the OHV fund. We can get grant funding through the general fund and some other stuff. So the funding's there. They just need the people. So she was like, what if we get these off-road clubs to adopt trails so that we can fund and buy the supplies, and they can supply some of the labor hours, the volunteer hours, to get the work done.
Absolutely. Sort of like an adopt your highway.
Exactly.
Right? Like we don't have enough people to clean on the side of the freeway, but somebody can adopt the highway, throw some advertising marketing into a sign saying who's adopting this stretch of the highway. They go out every once in a while to every year to every 10 years or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what the time frame is on it. Yeah.
Like sometimes they're dirty and you're like, wow, that Adopt-A-Trail person, I'm not going to go eat at that Taco Bell.
Right. Exactly. So you got to be careful about your advertisement you put up there.
But they don't have the labor force to clean the entire freeway system across America. But you have somebody donate a little bit of time to go clean a 1 mile stretch and your freeways can be clean.
Yeah, it kind of comes under the concept of many hands make light work, right?
Absolutely.
So, and the other thing behind it was that if we create the Adopt-A-Trail program, that by the off-roading clubs kind of spending sweat equity to maintain a trail, now it gives them kind of like this pride of ownership pride over the trail.
Pride of ownership pride?
It's ownership pride over the trail. Ignore the first one.
Okay.
It gives them see, now you got me trying to figure out what is the right wording for it.
It gives them this responsibility over the stretch of trail that they have put their time and effort into.
Yeah, but it gives them also pride over that trail.
Well, not only that trail, but then you gain a respect of other trails because you know how much work and effort it goes into maintaining a stretch of a trail. But now you go wheel somewhere else that's not your trail and you don't want to damage that trail as bad because you know how much work goes into maintaining and keeping a trail.
Absolutely.
So when you go somewhere else, like for us in Sacramento, we go down to Fresno, and we go wheel a trail, we know what not to be doing because we've put so much time and effort into maintaining a trail.
Yep. Yeah. And so it just gives you this, I think respect is the right word for it.
That's a good one.
Found respect for trails that we use as off-roaders. And that program has been phenomenal. Without the Adopt a Trail program in California, there's no way we would have been able to keep as many trails as we have been able to keep open. Mainly because the Forest Service doesn't have the budgets to put towards building enough vehicles that can go do these projects that we can get access to, because we have highly specialized vehicles for the projects. So having the Adopt a Trail program, it instills a sense of respect and ownership towards trail systems, because you're putting in the sweat equity for it, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's really what it came down to. And that's what we found has almost worked the best. And so how do you take now that concept, and then you can start looking at places around the country that, say you are in South Dakota in the Black Hills, and there's a maintenance project that the Forest Service might need help with in the Black Hills.
Okay.
And you live in the Black Hills area and you're like, well, I could probably help with that. Go help with it. If you can find the time to put into it, and then kind of make it known that to the land manager, the agency that is coordinating this maintenance, if you can make it known that, hey, off-roaders are really trying to step up and help with these labor problems, then that makes it just helps and improves the relationship between land managers and the off-roading community.
Absolutely. I think one of the things you should do is, if you frequent a place and you like going off-roading there, find out how you can help that location.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. Mm-hmm. And if, like in our case, if the Rubicon is a place that we frequent, we go often, but that one is very much kind of maintained and taken care of. And there's already a lot of clubs that do stuff up there. There's a ton of, there's a big support system for that trail. Yeah. Find somewhere else.
Yeah.
Find somewhere else that you can help. Like, I do know that our, good friends, well, I don't know about good, but our friends down at Wheeling Wine and Whiskey,
mediocre friends,
those Jeep guys, they work with Espirita 4, and they have a section that's like off of Highway 4 in the Arnold area, and they just do work for the fire or for the forest system, Stanislaus County Forest area, and more or less kind of talk to them and be like, where do you need our help? All the work we kind of did last year is all still looking good. Where else can we help you?
Yep.
Are there other trails that you need us to go and check out and maintain? Right. And it's sort of this open book of that location for them, where to go and where to help.
Yeah.
So I don't think you need to even dedicate yourself necessarily to a certain trail. If that's always good. You can always say I like this trail so much, I want to adopt that trail. But you could also look at hey, I really would like just to help El Dorado County Forest or Tahoe National Forest, or the Ocotillo Wells Desert, or wherever,
or Glamis, or
any of it. All these anywhere for the most part can use more help.
Absolutely.
So I think we kind of have figured out okay, now we've told the people how to volunteer, but how do you get in contact with these people to volunteer? That's
a good question. Most places, Forest Service, BLM, state parks, whatever it is, they will have a recreation department, right? There's a maintenance department, there's a janitorial department, there's a recreational department. And if you can find the recreation department and then find the OHV unit of the recreation department, those are the people you want to talk to. Because the OHV units they're in charge of the OHV recreation, right?
Yeah.
And so they will know what trails need help with. And so you can talk to them and be like, hey, what projects do you guys have on OHV trails, OHV trail systems? And see what they say. And the best place to start is to call up your local ranger district, your ranger station. Each ranger district has a station associated with it, and you can call them up and just say, hey, I'm just looking to help volunteer and help with some OHV projects that you guys have going on. Can I talk to the OHV division? And usually the people at the front desk of the ranger station will be like, yeah, okay, sure. I can, that's kind of their job, right? Is to help
I can
funnel and connect phone calls to different departments.
Right.
So if you can do that, that would be one way to go about. Another way to go about it, you can probably find the information through each national forest website. Every national forest has a website associated with it, and there should be contact information, or at least names of who the managers for each division or each department are there, so that if there's something in disarray, you can call and report it to that person, the correct people. So you can also use that information to call up and say, hey, I don't know if there's something in disarray, but if there is, can we help with it?
Reach out. We would like to help.
Yeah. Exactly.
So let me throw a curveball at you. What if it's on private land?
If it's on private land, then you got to reach out to the property owners.
Okay.
Whoever the property owners are. Yeah. But usually private property owners are hesitant, at least in California. They're very hesitant to open up the land to anybody using it for public usage.
Yeah, but I mean, to some extent, a lot of the places outside of California, OHV areas, are on private land.
True.
So, and I probably, and I'm putting my foot in my mouth here, but I'm guessing that the property owner has an understanding of their land and where a problem might be or what's going on. But I bet you, if you're an off-road club in that area and you frequent a park, a public or a private park, off-roading park, and you contact that owner and be like, hey, I'm so-and-so off-road club. If you ever need manpower to help maintain a stretch of your property, please let us know. We'd love to come out and give you a hand sometime. Yeah. They would be open to that.
I'm sure they totally would. Yeah. And that may be a thing. I don't know how. I know that in California, there's code enforcement, right, for private properties. And so they can come in and get you for causing irreparable damage to the land, even though it's your land. They have code enforcement rights over it, kind of thing.
Interesting. Okay.
And so I don't know if that's the same in, a lot of, like, the East Coast is all the wheeling on the East Coast is pretty much private property stuff. Right. So I don't know if, like, the private property owners, like, say Rush Creek off-road park, if the county that Rush Creek is located in could go into Rush Creek and be like, hey, this is code enforcement, these things are in disrepair, or they were having issues with these things, they don't meet county code, you have to shut down until you fix it, kind of thing. If that does happen, then absolutely 100% get in there and help fix it.
Right.
Be a part of the solution.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think some of the listeners might remember that, like, a year or so ago, I went out and looked at an off-road area, and I contacted the ranger district and the ranger, and I said, hey, I'm interested in possibly picking up a trail or an area as an adopt a trail. Would it be all right if I come up there and you give me a tour of your park and show me what might need help and where we might be able to help out? And unfortunately, we did not decide that land was a good use for our assets, because it's mainly a motorcycle park and there's almost no off-roading truck related, OHV related in that area. Yeah. It's only marginal to, like, some camping spots. Yeah.
And that area wasn't, it wasn't in a lot of need, right?
No.
It's already been built out as an established trail fairly well, and there wasn't a whole lot of erosion issues. There wasn't a whole lot of
it was mainly overgrown issue. They needed help maintaining, keeping the trails clean. Yeah. To go out on, but they didn't want them to be the size of trucks. Yeah. So we're kind of like, thanks, but no thanks. Yeah. But all I wanted to say was, all I did was reach out to this park and said, I'm interested in helping. I'm trying to find somewhere to help and bring a group of people in to help maintain one way or another. Can you show me the park and what might need help? Yeah. And I worked with the main ranger, and he gave us a tour of the park and showed us things. Yeah. And it was just that simple.
Simple. Yeah.
And I'm figuring that a lot of you out there probably have an area you frequent, and that's where I would start with. For sure. So, but it's just as easy or it's only as easy as just reaching out to somebody. And I think if you want to say volunteer, help, or, like, do work for you, they'd be like, yes, please.
Yeah.
I need you.
Absolutely. They do. They have way more projects going on than they have ability to staff those projects.
Right.
Always. And so the other big benefit for a lot of at least national forests, I would assume BLM and county is all the same as well, is that whenever you go and volunteer and do something on a trail to help maintain a trail, if you report those hours that you and everybody with you spent working on that trail, they get to request grant money from the OHV fund in California. So say you and 10 buddies go out and you each work 8 hours in one day, then
that's 80 hours.
That's 80 hours that they get to request funding for volunteer hours. So that also helps give them funding from the OHV fund to help pay for future projects.
Oh,
in
that's
the OHV
cool.
stuff.
Okay.
So that's
why they always want you to fill out those forms.
Exactly. Yep.
I never knew that.
Yep.
I thought it was a liability.
It's a liability too, but they also get a head count for the day. So
got it.
Yeah. So it's all around a big win, and you generally the work is, sometimes it's not fun work, but a lot of the times it's stuff that we like doing as off-roaders.
I would go as far as saying that we as off-roaders enjoy using our hands.
True. Yeah.
And this is just another way of us using our hands and, using our brain and using our bodies one way or another. We're not wrenching, we're not wheeling, but we're digging and, or cutting or, clearing or, doing some sort of physical labor one way or another.
Yeah.
And I think if you're I'm guessing if you're an off-roader, you like going out and doing some of that stuff. So
yeah, getting to go out and go on a wheeling trip for the day and hang out in the mountains and working with your hands, I think that appeals to a lot of off-roaders.
Right. I agree.
That's a lot of what these projects are. And the great thing about them is that you're a volunteer. If you want to get up and leave in the middle of the day, you can. You're not tied to working there. It's not like they can fire you.
Right. Exactly. You're like, I'm done. Okay. See ya. Thanks.
Thanks for coming out.
Mark that when mark when you're leaving.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, how about if there's already a stretch of trail taken up? Let's talk about the Mad Hatters project.
Okay.
A little bit. How about that?
Yeah.
So if you let's say that you already are in a trail or are a club that has an adopt a trail, what are the steps? Like there's usually a person that works out of the club that needs to contact a specific person to figure out what needs to get done. Yep. Is that sort of the
it's kind of like a liaison. Okay. Yeah, they're the liaison between the club and the governing agency.
Yeah. And then so you contact the governing agency and you say, hey, I'm from so-and-so club and we have this stretch of trail as an adopt a trail. Do you then just say, we're going to go out there and work?
Essentially say, yeah, we're looking at putting together a work party.
Okay.
Because it's always more fun as a party, right?
Sure.
And so you just say, yeah, we're going to put together a work party. What is the work that needs to be done on this stretch of trail? From this mile marker to this mile marker, or however you designate the section you're working on.
Yeah.
And they will tell you. Every single forest has to have everything documented, right? That's part of the red tape bureaucracy of government. Everything is always documented. So they will be able to tell you explicitly, well-defined, what work is supposed to be done on that section of road.
Right. Where there's a problem, exactly where there's the issue, right? And how to solve that problem.
Yep. Where the problems have been in the past and what they've done to solve that problem. So they can also say, hey, if they just need you to check on those problem areas, say they laid down some rock fill 20 years ago, they'll have that documented and just say, hey, can you just go in and check and make sure that rock fill is still all there and functioning as a rock fill area.
Right.
And so there's a lot of different, everything's documented. So you should be able to, once you find that person you're supposed to be talking to, it's literally just as simple as that, saying, hey, we're looking at going out here. What is some of the work projects that can be done for this trail section?
Got it. And then so then let's talk about the day that you go out there.
Okay.
So usually when you go out there, the liaison probably has the paperwork that you talked about a little earlier. You probably have everybody sign the paperwork, say when they're starting to work. And then, you know, in the Mad Hatter's case, you guys are doing a lot of digging, and you knew that ahead of schedule. And you probably will know ahead of schedule what kind of projects you're going to have. So whether it's clearing the trail of trees or moving rock or digging, spillways out, you're going to know these things. So how do you go about organizing a day? Like not step by step, but you just know what's ahead of you and you just start attacking it? Or do you send out trail people to find, I don't know. I'm not quite sure exactly what I'm trying to ask. So I'm trying to narrow it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Also.
So for me personally, the way I kind of tackle that problem is it really truly comes down to how many volunteers you have coming out to help with the work.
Oh, that's a good point. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So usually you're the liaison between the volunteers and the governing agency. So the governing agency will be able to tell you right away what projects that is your task for that day, that weekend, whatever it is. And then it's your job to figure out how to achieve those tasks, or tell the agency, hey, that's too many tasks for how many people we have. I don't want to overwork the people, because then if you overwork the people, they're not going to come back next time. So you kind of need to be able to find this fine balance of amount of work for how many people are there. And on vice versa, you don't want to have too little work that 50 people show up and 30 of them are standing around doing nothing all day.
Right.
That's not fun either.
So in some case, can you say like, here's 10 tasks that we need to get done. We really only need to get 5 of these done, but if we can tackle all 10, that'd be awesome.
Yep. Prioritize priorities. Okay. Yep. For sure. Like with the Mad Hatter's Adopt a Trail section, there's one dissipator, a rock pit, I like to call them, silt traps. That is the problem child every single year. It always fills up.
Right.
We did the math. We did 70 buckets. That's 350 gallons of sediment.
Wow.
That we pulled out of this rock pit this year.
Dang.
And it's the problem child every year. So we know going into the project that's the priority. We need to get that one cleared. Every other one, if we can get to them, awesome, fantastic. But also if we don't, we need to be able to know which ones are the priority. So maybe that's another thing you can do, is talk to the governing agency and say, okay, hey, I've only got 3 people showing up. This list of 10 things probably isn't going to get done. What's the priorities here? Okay. Give me a list in order of priority. And they should be able to do that for you as well. Any work that we can get done, even if it's 1 out of 10 tasks, they're going to be happy about it.
Got it.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the person in New York the lady in New York that went out to one of her favorite spots, her air quotes undisclosed location, and found it trashed. And she wants to organize a trash pickup day. So let's work her through her dilemma.
Yep.
Just as another avenue.
Yeah.
To discuss this. So let me walk through it, and then you correct me. Or give me advice.
Okay. I can help give information.
Yeah. Yeah. So the place I like to go is trashed. So I want to organize a trash pickup day. So what I should do is I should probably contact whoever's the governing agency of that land, whether it's a national forest, a state forest, or like a city property or something, and say, hey, I would like to volunteer. I'd like to organize a trash pickup day. How do I do that through your agency, and work with you to get this done? And then hopefully work out with them for them to provide some sort of trash bin or trash bags or something. And if worst case scenario, they don't offer anything, you bring your own. But then you need to do some sort of documentation for the event. And if I was somebody on Instagram, I would probably promote it on Instagram and say, hey, I'm going to do this trash pickup day on such and such a day. Please contact me. I need help, and I would like other people to help. And then you have the day, you get all the trash bags. Depending on how many people are there, let's say there's a good handful of people there. You maybe send half of them one direction along the beach and half the other direction along the beach. And, you tell them to go till such and such a time, and then maybe leave bags wherever they're at on the beach line. And then on the way back to the middle, you pick up all the bags as you're traveling back to the center, and then we have lunch.
Yeah.
And then we're all done for the day. And I have everybody sign their paperwork, and then probably turn the paperwork in at the end of the day to the governing agency and wash my hands and move on.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's really all it comes down to. In terms of getting the work done, the trick with volunteer work is volunteers, right?
Yes.
So finding incentives for volunteers to come out and make it worth their time and effort to care about something as much as you do, has proven to me to be the big trick, right?
Got it. Okay, see? You are teaching me something.
Oh, good.
So that makes sense. Instead of me just saying, hey, there's a lot of dirt or debris and garbage on the side of Highway 80, and this really bothers me because it's right at my house, right where I turn off every single day.
Yeah.
Somebody come out here, please, and help me clean this.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd have a handful of people.
Maybe.
But if I go, hey, I'm going to do a raffle giveaway or provide you food, and I'm going to give everybody a swag pack, and I really need some help cleaning this stretch of the freeway up, I'd probably have more people.
Probably. Yeah. There's definitely people that respond to material items. There's a lot of people. It seems like a lot of off-roaders are very idealistic.
Okay.
And so they will cling to ideas. And if you make an idea and a concept that people are drawn to, that I have found tends to be a better carrot than material items. Because you get a higher quality of volunteers showing up. The volunteers just showing up for the raffle, they may just show up and stand around and not pick up a whole lot of trash. They may just kind of be there to be in attendance so that they get the raffle at the end of it.
Right.
But the volunteer that's there because they care about Interstate 80 as being the gateway to Tahoe, and Tahoe, they love going up to Tahoe. And if the gateway to 80 shuts down because it's too trashed and you can't, there has to be a major cleanup project at some point. They have to shut down the highway and that person can't get to Tahoe anymore. That draws to people. And that person is going to show up every year, every time you have an event. So that's just kind of what I found. I mean, having a raffle there doesn't hurt as well either.
Right.
but take a Sierra Trek for Cal 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big raffle. It's a big fun event. There's trails, guided trips to go on. But really at the heart of it, it's a fundraiser, right? It's a fundraiser to help keep our trails open. And if you can instill that as the main goal and all the other stuff that comes along with the event, the camping, the hanging out, the dancing, the drinking, the raffle, the guided trips, the swimming in the lake, hiking to see petroglyphs. If you put all that in as a secondary or tertiary result of this fundraiser, then that just adds a bonus to the fundraiser, right? You get people who are there for the main goal, which may be to clean up Highway 80 or clean up this off-roading trail or clean up Rush Creek or whatever it is, or clean up the lake in New York, right? Because they care about the idea. And so that's what I've found is the trick, is finding that idea that's going to bring all the people together.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't think I've found out how to perfect that in any way, shape, or form. I'm still new to trying to get people to get together for volunteerism stuff. I'm still the person that's like, oh, we get to go volunteer somewhere. Count me in. I'm in. Let's go. Yeah. Like I'm a glutton for volunteering and volunteerism. I'm not good at convincing other people to go volunteer with me.
Hey, I need a T-case put in on a Bobcat. You want to volunteer some labor time?
What's in it for me? What's the idea here?
Yeah, okay.
That you won't be able to go on the glue tread trip, or you won't be able to go wheeling for the rest of the summer in case it gets done? I'm there. Count me in, man. Right, that's an idea I can latch onto.
There you go. Okay.
But if it's just so that you don't have to have pictures on your Instagram anymore of people giggling about what Tyler might say about Bobcat, then I don't know.
You're not so into it. You like that. Okay. That makes sense. I mean, I get it. I think that, any way that you can sort of entice somebody to come and help, it was a bonus, but I do see the idealistic side of that to get people to come back again and again. Right.
Yeah.
So is there anything else in regards to this that we want to kind of touch or talk about? I think that we've covered a lot of how to kind of get it done. Is there something in regards to why?
Not really. I mean, why is obviously so that we get to keep our hobby alive, right? We get to keep the places open that we like going to. And if we can show, I'm a firm believer that if we can show that we can maintain and we care about helping with keeping places open, that we can get more places open to back up in the future. And we're already seeing impacts of that thanks to a lot of the work that Corva, Cal4, Friends of Oceana Dunes, these lobbying organizations are doing with the land managers. I mean, we just got, what was it, I don't remember what the name of what the count was, but every state park in California just got OHV added to the land managing.
Like 200
something parks in one fell swoop. Like, that's huge.
Right.
Granted, we're not going to go after all 200 something of them, whatever it is.
Yeah, to get an OHV park in their park. No.
Yeah. But we're going to go after the ones that make sense. And even if it's another 40 parks, OHV areas that get opened up at state parks, like, that's 40 more than we had before. And if we can prove that we can take care of those areas, then that just gives us more ammo to open up more places.
Absolutely. And I think to me, some of the why is because one of the things is we get a very bad rap. We've talked about it in the past. Off-roaders get a bad rap, and if we can show that we're not the primary cause to this problem, then, we really need to change that stereotype about off-roaders, but they won't close trails down because of off-roading.
Yeah.
Right? They might close a trail down because too many people are going out there and illegally dumping.
Yep.
But that's not because of the off-roaders.
And they might close some really cool waterfalls down because too many people are going out there and getting injured all the time.
Yes.
But that's not because of off-roaders.
Yeah.
So the other thing to keep in mind is that, and this is another thing that off-roaders are really bad at the concept of, is liability. A lot of government agencies are really concerned with liability. Right? Especially in California, we're such a litigious state, right? If you can explain to a government agency that you're going to do a cleanup somewhere, or you want to help with the trail maintenance somewhere, and that you want to help with it because you're also trying to reduce their liability, that's another really, really big carrot for governing agencies.
Got it. Yeah.
So, because if you don't coordinate with them and you take 100 people out to a lake in New York to do a big cleanup, the governing agency for that body is going to be like, oh my God, there's 100 people here now all of a sudden, quote unquote, doing work to maintain the land. If anybody gets injured here, who's responsible for that injury? There's every single governing agency is concerned about that.
Yeah. Good point. That's
another big reason to try and help coordinate with them to help lessen their fear of risk and liability for people going out and doing, I don't want to say unpermitted, but unsolicited cleanups or maintenance projects.
And there's also some liabilities that come with doing those things. And don't you have to be somewhat, or at least in some organizations or some counties or some national park, you have to be a certified chainsaw person, right?
Every national forest.
Forest.
In order to use a chainsaw in a national forest, you're supposed to have a chainsaw permit.
While doing maintenance?
I think it's supposed to be for anything, but but it's definitely, if you're doing anything, with the national forest, like El Dorado National Forest or Tahoe National Forest, you definitely need to have a chainsaw permit for that. But then now the problem comes, I brought this up, I had a fun conversation with, one of the recreation supervisors for El Dorado National Forest over this weekend, the same one that gave me grief for camping at Airport Flats when we did at the snail trail during winter.
Yeah.
So I was talking with her, and I was
Did she remember you?
No, she didn't. But anyways, because there's a big project going on right now in California. It's starting in El Dorado County. I think it's El Dorado National Forest. It might be the county. I forget which one it is. But they want to go through and take 2,000 miles, something like that, of native surface roads and start clearing back dead trees to 200 feet on either side of the road.
Okay.
And
why?
Because they're concerned about fire issues of fires and being able to use those roads as fire breaks more effectively.
Okay.
And B, there's been a lot of fires in El Dorado National Forest lately, Caldor, that left a lot of burned dead trees that are now hazard trees near roadways, which then causes risk of liability. If one of those trees falls on somebody while they're out recreating, the forest is liable for that.
Right.
So they're starting to figure out what the scope of the work might be. They're in the scoping process, quote unquote.
Yeah.
For figuring out how to clear 200 feet on either side of a road of any hazard trees.
That's insane. That's going to be an immense amount of work.
It's over 2,000 miles worth of road work, right?
Yeah.
And so I kind of messaged her and I was like, hey, off-roaders love playing with chainsaws. So if you have, if there's some OHV routes in all these designated trails that you guys are looking at, let me know. I can totally put together a group of X amount of people to go out for a day or a weekend and fell a bunch of trees and help you guys out. I was like, off-roaders love doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Get to play with winches and chainsaws all day for a weekend. Come on, no brainer. But the problem is that they haven't run a chainsaw permit class in 5 years. So there's nobody with valid chainsaw permits right now.
Oh, man. Okay.
And so I'm like, when is that chainsaw class going to happen? She goes, I don't know. Every time we try and run a class, all the chainsawers have to go out to fight fires from CAL FIRE, because CAL FIRE is typically the one that permits everybody.
We'll do it during the winter.
You would think that would be the obvious answer.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. So anyways, it's that's another issue, is the chainsaw permitting thing.
Right.
But
in national forests.
I don't know what the laws are for BLM and county and everything else, state parks. But national forests are definitely that way.
Another thing that I want to bring up, and I'm not quite sure how to broach it, but we've kind of alluded to it in the past, is to some extent, you kind of don't want to promote the fact that we're going out and cleaning up trails that we go and wheel on.
Yeah, it does. I mean, at one point, on one side of the coin, it shows that, hey, we're taking care of our own stuff.
Right.
But on the other side of the coin, it also shows, hey, off-roaders are doing a lot of damage in the first place, and we need to have those repairs done. So it's kind of like this double-edged sword. I don't know, not really a double-edged sword, but it's two sides to the same coin. So it's kind of like, yeah, I think you want to help promote maintenance projects, but I don't think you want to necessarily advertise them, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Well, I think
or glorify them. I don't know.
I think if you're going to go do work on an off-road OHV trail, if you're doing maintenance, promote it. If you're doing trash pickup, maybe don't promote it.
Maybe not promote as much.
Not promote it as much.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, it does look good. Yeah, we're going out and we did all this cleanup, but then it also shows, oh, look at all the trash that we had to clean up from all these other off-roaders. Yeah. Right. So it is this double-edged sword, two sides of a coin sort of scenario. But I think if you go and you do cleanup around a lake where that's not strictly off-road related, and you're showing how much trash anybody left, then it looks good in the off-roading community that these off-roaders are going to these areas and cleaning up these areas.
After other groups of people. Yep.
Right? Go find a mountain biking trail or a hiking trail or a, horse trail, then clean up all their poop.
I was going to say, we can have off-roaders go to a mountain bike trail, pick up horse shit.
Yeah. Oh man. Or just any of those. And, so I think there's a fine line there to trying to figure out what to promote. And you just need to kind of think about it there for a second. I think that promoting the fact that you picked up all this trash off of a off-road strictly trail is not really the best thing to promote.
Yeah.
Right. Because then the government, or, the Triple C here, our California Coastal Commission, or somebody will go, well, where did all that trash come from? Who left all that trash? Because only off-roaders use that trail. So only off-roaders probably left all that trash, and so, I think
that's a good point too.
There is something to be thought about there in what you want to advertise, what you want to show. We've talked about the same thing, different side of the story, different topic in a way of, showing somebody doing stupid things, jumping their truck into a tree and running, getting the truck stuck in a tree and oil falling down all over the tree, and then that shows up on Beat Not Babied. And then, whoever is overlooking that type of land, uses that as ammo for trying to get stuff shut down. Yeah. So I know that's a different topic entirely, and we're on the keeping your, how to do trail maintenance and why trail maintenance is important. But I do think that kind of needs to be voiced about think about what you're going to advertise and promote and show, Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a really good point. Kind of think through processes, and not really processes, but think through consequences of actions and decisions. So, I don't know. There's a lot of reasons to get into trail maintenance as an off-roader. I think that there's a lot of benefits for it. Very few drawbacks in comparison. And if you're looking for something that can be done in your neck of the woods, but you just don't really know where to begin, or you're not sure how to approach a topic with a governing agency, or I know that there's, in the off-roading world, there's a lot of distrust with governing agencies too. And that I think a lot of it comes from just the two entities distrusting each other. Like, I don't think that there's a ton of, well, maybe there is, but legit reasons why to distrust each other. We just do. And that ends up worsening the whole relationship more and more
over time.
Yeah. So I think that if we can, quote unquote, be the bigger people and go to your local agency that, oversees an area you love going to, and just be like, hey, where can I help at?
Yeah.
And just kind of start that process, start the conversation. A great place to start at. Great place to go in and begin with.
Yeah. I also think that if you're not really involved with a club or a group and you just want to help, reach out to a club and a group.
Yeah.
And say, hey, when is the next time you guys are going out and doing some sort of trail maintenance or work? I would like to volunteer my time with you guys.
Yeah.
You probably don't have to be a part of their club. They would still say, sure.
Yeah.
We need more hands.
Absolutely. Yep.
You don't have to tie yourself up with being in a club to do that. So, and you get to volunteer your time to help keep trails open across the country.
Yep. I like it, man. If you guys have any questions about this topic, I know it's a very kind of in-depth, I don't want to say vague topic, but it is kind of vague just because it seems to be something that only really happens in California.
Yeah. Remember when we had the listener write in saying that somebody closed their trail immediately, like somebody dumped some tires and then like the next day they were putting a gate up.
Yep.
And we pretty much told them about the Adopt-A-Trail system and what we have going on here. And they reached out to the governing agency and said, why is this getting closed? Somebody dumped a bunch of garbage.
It wasn't off-roaders.
It wasn't off-roaders.
Somebody who dumped stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. They dumped a bunch of tires or something like that. And they said, why, can us as off-roaders try and clean this area up for you guys? And that really opened the door, and it did not shut the gate that they were building. I believe my knowledge is they had never finished building that gate, and they cleaned up that area, and that trail is now still open in use.
Yep.
So this model that happens in California, we say it often, can be carried across the country.
Absolutely.
And there might be variations or twists of this model, but you can figure that out and make it work best for you, your club, your area, your private land, one way or another. It can, I think any sort of volunteer work that you can give to help the trail systems would be a benefit.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great note to end on. So if you guys have any feedback for us, write in, call in. You guys know how to get a hold of us through the Instagram land, through the email land, through the phone land with the voicemail. Been getting some really good kind of individual voicemails and feedback over the past couple weeks. So thank you for that. Keep them coming. We love hearing from you guys. Yeah, get in contact, man. We want to hear the feedback. We want to hear questions. We want to know if you have a situation coming up in your side of the country, something that we can help, I don't know, give some ideas about and get the conversation going on the podcast maybe. Send them in. We love hearing it. So
absolutely.
Cool. Anything else for this topic? Anything that you can think of?
No, I think we went in every direction possible for the most part. And I just think that, the best thing you can do is help. Yeah.
So with that, my friends, Jimmy, for everybody out there, do you have any final words for everyone?
Volunteer.
And with that, my friends, keep crawling.
I got one for you.
Joke time.
Joke time.
Hey, everybody listening. Jimmy has a joke.
What is the difference between a nicely dressed man on a unicycle and a poorly dressed man on a bicycle?
I have no idea. There's too much there to think about.
A tire.
See, that one's a good one. I like that one. I like those, like, I don't know, like the dual pun, and yeah. Like if you get one pun in there, anybody can do that. If you can get two puns in, come on. Yeah.